My name is NonStopAntonio, and it's time to talk about episode 10 of The Flash Season 9. And I do not understand why this writing was not implemented when the season started, and where all this writing was for the last few seasons, because goddamn, this episode was good, last episode was good, now this episode was good, and it's leading into a great 4-part final. I cannot believe The Flash is gonna surprisingly end on a bang, especially with that very, very weak start of the season. So let's jump into my review and breakdown with some fun Easter eggs for The Flash Season 9, Episode 10. Welcome to NonStopAntonio, where I talk about everything nerdy. I love Marvel, DC, and anime, and if you do too, I hope you enjoy this video. Like I said, where was this writing at the beginning of the season? And also, this was written by Eric Wallace. Eric. Why is it so good now? Why couldn't this be in like the last few seasons? I feel like there were so many fumbled bags for the last few years. This first half of the season had some good moments, but majority disappointments. And now you come back and you're like, yeah, we can drop some fire episode after fire episode 2 weeks in a row. I swear to God, the next 3 better be fire, or I'm just gonna flip my table. Having Barry get dragged back in time to the year 2000, the year his mother died, was done so well. Having Thawne torment him, showing that Barry is still trying to get over his parents' death, him seeing them once again for the first time in so many years, I loved it. And having it come full circle from season 1, amazing. Literally amazing, because I did not expect it for it to happen at all. I did not expect for the Flash to meet the Flash and live the season 1 time travel in this Flash's shoes. God damn, this episode was awesome. I enjoyed every single moment. It's great seeing full evil Thawne and also seeing Nora and Henry Allen being caring parents for their son, even though they don't know it's their son. It's done so well, and Grant Gustin's performances during this, beautiful. And I really like how this beginning of the episode teased Cobalt Blue coming. The logo went blue, and it's setting up a new world with the 4-part series final. Which, again, I think they did this whole episode set up for what's to come so freaking well, and had so many callbacks to season 1 as well. I loved it so much. So freaking much. Now, before we get into the past stuff, let's quickly talk about what happened at the very beginning of the episode, because we saw a version of Eddie Thawne, which is most likely Malcolm Thawne, his twin brother, which I think they're turning Eddie into the Barry Allen of this story, where in the comics, Barry Allen's twin brother with Malcolm Thawne that was separated at birth, and I think they're switching it up where Eddie had a twin brother instead, and that was Malcolm Thawne, and he was separated at birth rather than doing it Barry and Malcolm. I'm happy with that because it means we're getting Rick Costnet back, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out, because the way they set this up is that he's just a scientist at Mercury Labs, which I think was really cool just to start off the episode. It was also really nice to see Joe's place. Like, I didn't actually expect to see Joe West or see his house at all the rest of the season. I thought he was done and he was leaving. So it was cool to see him again, because he was actually a very big part of the episode, especially because he was playing the past version of himself as well. Also seeing Allegra getting a costume, which looked ridiculous. I'm sure by the end of the season, we're going to get a cool costume for her before the show ends, which I think was fun. It was a nice, fun little scene, especially with Chester making this just hideous costume. Also finding out more about Khione's powers, how she's been training with Argus to get better and figure out what she can do, and her powers are still a freaking mystery to me, or her powers have to do with nature. She turned into like mist and went under the door. Very weird and interesting, and I'm curious to see how this all plays out, because there is, 3 episodes left, and they have to explain it, right? Also, on top of it, she's writing to Caitlin and Frost. She's kind of like writing her own journal, talking to her dead sisters in a sense, and just trying to talk about what she's experiencing, showing us as the audience what's going on. Also, Iris is now full-blown pregnant. They talk about it being like 9 months, so I'm no idea how long it's been since episode 9, or like what literally the freaking time gaps were between episodes. But yeah, but they ramped it up so Iris could have her baby by the end of the season. And she's also getting her pulsar, which they set up in episode 1, which I guess is just like a nice foreshadow to show that she's going to get her award for her Red Skies article. Now, let's jump into the Barry getting dragged into the past, because obviously that was the whole part of the episode, and the first little bit was just kind of setting up all the side plots for the rest of the season. And I like how he just kind of snapped away to the year 2000, and his first thought was trying to run back to the present, and he runs into the laundry van, which is literally what he did in season 1 when he first got his powers, which I think was a really cool reference back to season 1, and that was just one of the few that they did during this episode. Plus, on top of it, he's treading very lightly about the future, trying not to give himself away. He's in the past. If he does something, he could change the future potentially and like have a spiral butterfly effect. And I like how we see Singh and Joe before they became captains and moved up in the police force, which I think was just a nice fun scene. And also Barry going to Joe saying he was told that he could always go to Joe for help, because that's exactly what he would do in the future. But of course, at this point in time, Barry's mom has not died yet, so Barry has not been living with Joe. And I like how he's asking about Tina McGee, who we've seen a couple times over the years, but I don't think we've seen recently. I can't remember, but it's cool to get a reference for her. And then also talking to Stein. He calls Martin Stein, which I think was awesome. Even though we don't actually get to physically see him, we get a little cameo by him. Nice little phone call, him be questioning Barry's time travelness, because this is before he's a legend, even though technically at this point in time, he would know about time travel because of the legend. And I'm actually kind of curious that they didn't put that in there. Pretty sure anyways that the young Martin Stein does know about the legends and time travel. He just doesn't think about a lot because, you know, he can't change the future and he knows he can't. Even though it was a cool reference, my mind literally just thought of that while I was recording this, and I'm like, I honestly would have been cool if he's like, wait a second, you say you're from the future. Are you part of the legends? Like, I think that would have been a cool little Easter egg if they did do that. But still, nonetheless, it was still cool, and I'm now rambling on. Let's jump back into the rest of it. I love how Reverse Flash hits Barry into his parents to try to torment him, make him like relive his parents before they both died, make him feel shitty because he's seeing his dead parents that he's never going to be able to see again once he goes back to the future. And I really liked it because the interaction with Barry and his parents were done so freaking well. Because Barry was hiding who he was always trying to run away, but Henry and Nora being there was just awesome. Seeing them once again, and also because of the fact that they're still very good people. They're trying to help Barry, kind of like he's their son, but they don't actually know that. They're just very good people trying to look out for this guy who looks like he's lost and needs help, and they're trying to give him that help. And I love how they go to Zatara's Pizza because Zatara is a reference to Zatara the Magician from the comics, who is Zatanna's father, another magical character from the comics, and I really like that reference. And you know what? I kind of find it funny that we never actually got like a main magic user, like hero-wise, on the Flash. Like we had Constantine on Arrow and Legends, but we never got like Zatanna or another character like that on the Flash. That would have been pretty cool. But I really like how that whole interaction led to him running into Thawne, and Thawne like kind of tormenting him, like, ha ha ha, you're here to see me kill you. I can torment you for the final time. You know, acting full evil Thawne, making Barry also say that Thawne wins, because at this point in time, Thawne is winning. He's about to kill young Barry. He doesn't know that young Barry's gonna get saved, and that he's gonna end up killing Nora Allen. So I really like what they did there, and I think they did it so well. Matt Letcher coming back as Reverse Flash, fantastic. It's awesome to see him. He literally came back last season, and then he came back this season, and he even came back in Legends. He's just been in a lot recently, and I'm so happy we got him back, because it is not a Flash season without Reverse Flash. And I love how this leads to Barry going to see his parents and expressing everything he would want to say to his parents. However, he's talking about his family and his daughter, and he's literally expressing everything that he would tell his parents to his parents without his parents knowing that they're his parents. Which, that sounds very confusing, but I love what they did there. Because even Henry Allen being like, they'd be proud of you, son. I don't know, I had butterflies. It felt so nice to see Barry seeing his parents and having a good moment with them, even though they didn't know they were his parents. And I thought it was interesting that we did get the Blue Crystal this episode, where the Blue Crystal was calling out to Joe, and Joe ended up becoming like the, well, not the avatar of it, but just the host of it at the time. Barry having to fight him because, like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna let this crystal take over Joe, whatever's possessing him, make Joe a villain? No, he's gonna try to save his adoptive dad, even though he can't actually hurt them. And I thought it was very interesting because they talked about how they have been waiting all this since the dawn of time to go after Barry Allen. This is still pretty much setting up Cobalt Blue because of the Blue Crystal. And because in the comics, the talisman is what gives Cobalt Blue his powers, which they are it seems like they are changing up for this show. However, I think that Blue Crystal is still supposed to be like the talisman, which it'll end up being the negative Speed Force anyways. Well, at least that's what it seems like. They never really confirmed or denied that, but it does definitely seem like it is the negative Speed Force that is doing all of this because of what happened last season. Barry Allen did kill the Avatar last season, technically, when Thawne died and blew up. Which, even if they didn't say the negative force is exactly like Barry said it, but the way they were kind of saying it was very misleading. However, at the end, it kind of makes more sense that it is the negative Speed Force. But we'll get to that when we talk about the ending of the episode. When Joe shot Barry through the wall with like the blue laser, and that's similar to how in the comics, how Cobalt Blue, the earlier versions of him, shot enemies. Because other Thawnes had wielded the talisman before and had powers, which I thought was really interesting and a cool like nod to the comics. Also, the fight scene was cool, watching Joe fight with this like blue laser shooting out his hand, and then Barry trying not to hurt his father while using his power minimally. And I really like how when Barry seems like he's gonna die, he starts thinking about his family, and he starts to gain all this power, and he uses a burst of energy to free Joe, send the crystal away, and free himself, which I really like what they did there. He thought of his family, which made him stronger, that he wasn't gonna lose, and he was gonna do everything he could to get back to his wife and child, which I really like how they dealt with it. Everything in this episode was just done so freaking well. I am happy mad. Mostly because I feel like the show should have been like this entire time. This writing was so well done. They could have done this for so many seasons, yet we got some really shitty episodes in previous seasons, which is like, why couldn't everything be this good? And I like when he goes to run after Thawne, he's hearing his family saying, run, Barry, run, and then hearing Harrison Wells, Thawne, he's saying, run, Barry, run. Again, another tie back to all the seasons and everyone telling Barry to run, where he runs to Thawne before Thawne can murder him, which again, done amazingly, because Barry reminds Thawne how Thawne wanted to be a hero, how Thawne was his biggest fanboy, and also apologizes for taking the credit for saving all these people in the future that Thawne was supposed to save. And I really like how they did that, Barry tries to talk him and get him to walk away. Pretty sure would also create another flashpoint, because if Barry made him walk away, there's a good chance that Barry would have been erased from time. He wouldn't have had his daughter at that, and the whole timeline would get changed again. Because I mean, Thawne originally did change the timeline, which became a fixed point in time, which created him and did all the shit that we've seen over the years. And when he did save his mom, it created flashpoints. So technically, this would have made another flashpoint. So I understand why he tried to do it. It wouldn't have worked out for anyone if he did. But it did show Thawne being that evil Thawne, thinking himself as the hero and Barry as the villain, because Barry always thwarted him and made him look like a villain in the end. And even though Thawne wanted to be a hero originally. And then when Thawne went to go kill Barry, they dove through the window and they started running around, literally showing what we saw in season 1. When Barry's mom got killed, the Flash fighting Reverse Flash, and the Flash taking his own younger self out of there and also telling season 1 Flash, don't do it. We literally circled all the way back to season 1 in those moments, and I did not see that coming. I originally thought that the Barry Allen from season 1 got erased from time because of everything that happened with Flashpoint and everything that progressed afterwards. However, it looks like all those events made the Barry Allen that went back, fought Reverse Flash, and ended up saving himself, but his mom dying. Which, you know, time travel gets freaking confusing as shit, but I really like what they did. Now, on top of it becoming full circle, just imagine how Barry's mom is realizing that she was talking to her future son, because right after she's about to die, Barry from season 1 comes and reveals his identity to her and says that everything's all right. I really like how that adds to it, because now that she had met Barry prior to that, without knowing that he was her son, it kind of all clicked after while she was dying. She kind of have a revelation moment knowing that her son's a hero and then realizing everything that he said was for her. So I like to think of it as a really nice touching moment. The callbacks to season 1 was beautiful. And I know we're not done there. We're definitely getting callbacks to season 2 and season 3. So most likely to the other ones as well. So I am so hyped. I'm so hyped to see what happens. And I like how it leads to Barry confronting Thawne at the end and Thawne being like, why did you save yourself? What the hell? And then realizing, oh shit, it's a fixed point in time when he's losing his speed, because he fell right into the trap of pretty much what he needed to do to create Barry Allen. And he says he's gonna ruin Barry's life, which he technically does try to do, but in the end, he ends up getting erased from time. So much timey-wimey shit happens, Thawne comes back, Thawne goes away, Thawne comes back, Thawne goes away, which he doesn't know is gonna happen because he's from the past at this point. He's from the future, but now from the past. God, time travel can be really freaking confusing. And I really like how this also led to Barry telling him that, ironically, when Thawne was trying to torment him, he actually helped Barry achieve peace with his parents' death by forcing him to talk to them. It allowed Barry to express how he was feeling and talk to his parents one last time, because he could never express everything he did, because his dad and his mom are both dead. His mom didn't get to see him grow up, and his dad died years ago. Didn't see him get married. Didn't see him have kids. And I really, really like what they did, because it shows that Barry is now at peace. He was able to see his parents one last time, and ironically, it was all thanks to his biggest villain. But then Barry gets sucked through time again, I'm assuming, and we don't know where he goes, because now we go to another area where we see another Eddie, which we thought at the beginning of the episode, and there's a storm going on outside. It looks like the Speed Force storm. He gets zapped with lightning, just like Barry Allen did when he first got his powers, creating another Flash. However, this is the negative Speed Force choosing him as the new avatar, striking him with lightning, just like how Barry was struck by the positive Speed Force. And I really like how they're setting this up, because instead of doing the normal Cobalt Blue way, they're kind of teasing it as their parallels. One is going to be fueled by hatred because of the negative Speed Force, while the other one's fueled by love, where they go after each other, kind of like how Thawne and Barry did, but in a way different way, because this negative Speed Force is absolutely determined to kill Barry Allen and ruin him, because he had destroyed their avatar and destroyed them last season. And after he gets zapped by lightning, he finds a police report with Eddie Thawne, and he's like, who the hell is Eddie Thawne? So right there and then, he could be the twin of Eddie Thawne that he didn't know existed, and now he's just finding out about it, and he's gonna find out that his twin brother was killed by the Flash. And the negative Speed Force is going to corrupt him, making him believe that it was all of the Flash's fault, that Eddie died, and that he never got to meet his twin brother. And I think the negative Speed Force is also just going to slowly corrupt him, just like it did everyone else that it touched. I'm so excited to see what happens in the next few episodes, because we are ending the series. We did go from like 3, 4, 5 disappointing episodes in a row to Oliver Queen coming back and referencing back to Barry and Oliver's first interactions to holy shit, we're going into the final. We're getting references to season 1. We're probably going to get references to season 2, 3, and so on. I couldn't be happier to get a great ending to The Flash. Even if the season is not 100% amazing, if we do get the last 4 episodes being amazing, I'm going to be happy. What did you think of episode 10? What was your favorite callback? Was there anything I missed? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, hit the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to see my other breakdowns, I am currently covering Titans and Superman and Lois. And when Doom Patrol comes back, I will be covering that as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.